Welcome back. This is my second video regarding concept mapping. In the first part, I talked about why you should consider concept mapping as a learning tool. In this video, I'm actually going to give you an example of how to build a concept map using mitosis and meiosis. To start off my map, I've placed my two terms here in the middle of the page because I already know that I'm going to have a lot of other ideas connecting to each term. I won't really know how many other ideas will connect back to these two until I do the concept map. I just know that I'll need more room than I'd have if I put these terms at the top of the page. I also recommend placing the main ideas in a circle or a box so that it's easier to recognize what topics we've been working with once the page starts to fill up. Let's look at mitosis. What do we know about mitosis? Well, mitosis is one of the components of the cell cycle. Here is one of the ways that a concept map is going to help us out. I already know that I need to add some additional vocabulary to this page because there are other components besides mitosis within the cell cycle. We have interphase and cytokinesis. Again, concept maps helping us out here. I do know that I need to make at least one change. In class, we've talked about that there are two major components of the cell cycle, interphase and the mitotic phase. So I'm just going to erase these lines here, add in the second major step, and that'll place mitosis and cytokinesis as subdivisions of the mitotic phase. I'm going to illustrate the cell cycle here a little bit, drawing a little arrow here that shows that interphase leads into the mitotic phase, and then it is a cycle, so as the daughter cells leave the mitotic phase, they start around again at interphase. Let's see if there's any other relationships we can explore here amongst the terms that we already have on the page. The mitotic phase we have broken down into mitosis and cytokinesis. Hopefully this is a reminder to you that interphase also can be broken down into some subunits. Interphase is made up of the phases G1, S, and G2. Again, we can show these subphases as part of the cell cycle, with G1 leading to S, S leading to G2, G2 leading to mitosis and cytokinesis, and of course daughter cells, as they leave cytokinesis, they go back to this principal step G1 of interphase. Now we've already got quite a few things drawn here, and we want to make sure that we can use this as a review tool when we're done. I don't want to forget what the relationships are of the items I've already listed, so I'm going to use a little space here, and here, and here, to write in what these lines are actually representing. Labeling these connecting lines can be helpful, as is deciding which lines will be most useful to label. Here's the next big idea regarding concept maps. No idea or set of ideas should be separate from the rest of the page. We don't want any islands not connected to the mainland. On our page, we've got to find a way to connect both mitosis and meiosis. Both mitosis and meiosis are components of cell division. Again, we can use the concept map to build a stronger connection. If mitosis and meiosis belong to types of cell division, why do we have more than one type of cell division? Well, meiosis, is a type of cell division that helps with sexual reproduction. Now we should recognize that one of the functions of the cell cycle in mitosis is asexual reproduction. Hopefully you remember this already, but I just said that one of the functions of the cell cycle in mitosis is asexual reproduction. This means that I better include the other functions as well. There's growth, development, repair, and replacement. put a label here so we don't forget what the relationship between these ideas. And let's put another line right here so that we remember that asexual reproduction is one of the functions of the cell cycle in mitosis. We've got a pretty good start to this concept map, but I'll tell you another one of my preferences with regards to concept mapping. I try not to write the same idea in more than one box because it might make me miss some of the overall picture. For example, I do know that cytokinesis is a part of meiosis, but instead of drawing this idea a second time, hopefully I've left enough room on the page to draw a line from meiosis over to cytokinesis. This is one of the ways, by just writing everything once, that I can explore what is the same and what is different between meiosis and mitosis. We've got a whole lot more vocabulary in this chapter than what is on this page right now. We've got each of these terms in this list and more in the expected learning outcomes that we should be able to connect on our map. May I suggest that you perhaps look at the nucleus and the cytoplasm and the rest of the cell for your next items to map on this page. Both of these two terms, the nucleus and the cytoplasm, should connect to at least a couple of other ideas on this page and possibly more. A good way for you to study this chapter would be to see if you can place all of the vocabulary I've listed for you in the expected learning outcomes into one concept map. Remember not to leave any term or small group of terms floating alone on your page. There has to be a connection between all of them at some level or another. Secondly, try to list each of the terms only once, but then use connecting lines to reach all of the other ideas that have relationships with that idea. Sometimes we will have circled topics in between, as we do with cell division that's in between the mitotic phase and meiosis, but no one is stranded here on our page. I think that as you look for these relationships and who is connecting to who, it will give you a stronger sense of the terms that you are mapping. Don't be afraid to give yourself some room on the page to write the descriptions of some of these relationships, with all of the lines that you are drawing. Finally, use the concept map to ask yourself if the information on the page is enough information or if you need to illustrate additional ideas or relationships. And of course, finally, you can also use this map to help you decide which topics you still need to review from the text. Thanks for listening to this presentation. I hope that you find concept mapping a useful tool for your education and even beyond.